Hello good people, I'm Dmitry, and if I look slanted to you, it's because I pulled my neck over the weekend, so I'll potentially try to correct it in post, my weird posture. But today let's talk about AMD Radeon, because they're in this interesting position where the RX 580, which was launched in 2017, is basically a rebrand of the 480 that is about 2 years old now. But then the Vega 56 and the 64 were launched in August of 2017, so almost a year from today. But you know, if you were to potentially buy an AMD card in 2018, does it make any sense? And what's interesting about this lineup is that we have the RX 580, which is around $300, and then we have the Vega 56, which is around $500. So there's that giant gap of $200 and literally nothing in between from the red team to satisfy that entire gap, price-wise and performance-wise, which is where the GTX 1070 comes into play at around $400. So price-wise, it slides right in between the RX 580 and the Vega 56. I have all three cards in-house. Let's do the benchmarks right after this. The new T-Force Excalibur DDR4 memory is one unique RGB kit with awesome light spill from each module, and the special edition has a cool totem design on the light bar. You get lifetime warranty, up to 4000 MHz speeds, and full lighting control through the software. Check out the T-Force Excalibur RAM down below. Now, the reason why we're having this conversation is because prices for GPUs have come down, the market is stabilizing, prices are still inflated versus launch prices, but they're not as inflated as they were a year ago because of mining. And so if you are rooting Team Red, then the RX 580 and the Vega 56 are kind of like your obvious choices. So we have the Vega 56 Pulse from Sapphire. It's a 2.5 slot card, so it's got a beefy cooler, the fans don't spin, it has 8 GB of HBM2 memory, and it is slightly overclocked versus reference. And then the RX 580, this is the Phantom Gaming from ASRock. So this one's also overclocked out of the factory by around 95 MHz. Not significant, but still nice to have. It's got 8 GB of GDDR5 memory, and it's a nice compact cooler, so hopefully they perform well. Now, I will say the dual 8 pins on the Vega card are located in one of the worst spots right in the center, so routing your cables in a clean manner is almost impossible. And for the GTX 1070, I have the Founders Edition, and I'm running all of these cards at stock, so let's begin with the benchmarks. Now, just to cover my bases, I'm only running the benchmarks for the games that I'm currently playing, and we're running this on 8700K at 4.2 GHz, so there is no CPU bottleneck, with 16 GB of RAM at 3600 MHz. Let's begin. So starting with CSGO, I'm running everything at 1440p and highest settings. You probably won't be running highest settings with this game because you want to maximize your frame rate, but we are achieving almost 250 frames on the GTX 1070. But look at how much better the lower 1% is on the Vega card versus the green team. Moving on to Far Cry 5. So the GTX 1070 is faster on average, but again, we have the same behavior with much better lower 1% on the Vega card. We're seeing the same behavior with Squad, so better lower 1% on the Vega card, but it matches to the GTX 1070 for the average frame rates. Jumping into The Witcher 3, the GTX 1070 easily beats the Vega card. The same thing with Overwatch, so much higher averages for the GTX 1070, and look at that lower 1%, it matches to the average of the Vega card, so yeah. And the only game I play right now where Vega pulls ahead is Doom, so about 9 frames higher on average, but the lower 1% are basically identical. And the one interesting observation is that giant performance gap between the RX 580 and the Vega 56, and there's literally nothing price-wise and performance-wise from AMD to fill that space, which is where the GTX 1070 comes in because it's priced cheaper than the Vega 56, but slightly higher than the RX 580. But it outperforms both those cards in pretty much every title. But the one thing you have to consider is FreeSync versus G-Sync. FreeSync monitors are much cheaper, so if you're going towards the stutter-free gaming experience with the AMD side of things, you are spending less money overall, I would say, versus going with a G-Sync display that is more expensive, but getting a slightly cheaper GPU that is more powerful. So they kind of balance each other out. But the one thing that really surprised me is Adobe Premiere's performance with AMD cards and how much worse it has gotten after the latest update. You can watch the full video here, but Adobe added QuickSync support, which can use the integrated graphics on your Intel CPU to accelerate encoding. And so my 8700K has an Intel HD 630, so that can be used while you're outputting, rendering a video file. So it can use the CUDA acceleration on the NVIDIA card and OpenCL acceleration through the integrated graphics. But the AMD side of things use OpenCL acceleration because it doesn't have CUDA, and so the Premiere uses the integrated graphics instead of your GPU when you have hardware acceleration enabled through OpenCL, therefore making things much slower to export because the AMD card is not even utilized at all, whereas the integrated graphics is being used for that OpenCL acceleration. And so that really sucks for Premiere users who are on AMD cards with an Intel CPU, because Premiere will not use your graphics card, it'll just use the integrated graphics on the processor instead. And looking in the big picture, I feel like AMD Radeon is going to be in a difficult position. You know, I included the GTX 1070 because it's cheaper than the Vega 56, so it slides right in between the 580, the RX 580 and the Vega 56, but it outperforms those two cards. And the roaming rumors of potentially a new NVIDIA card launch soon, you know, that really kind of corners AMD to a really bad value proposition market-wise. One of the best gaming headsets is now available through mass drop. The PC37X has fantastic drivers, incredible comfort, and the best microphone in the class, plus they look awesome for a gaming headset. Check out the drop, link below. Alright guys, I would love to hear what you think about this whole AMD Radeon situation. They are in a little bit of a pickle, but if you were to stick with Team Red, the RX 580 is a good 1080p card. Find it on sale, you won't be disappointed. It's pretty powerful for 1080p stuff, while the Vega 56. So this thing is a beast for the price point. The unfortunate thing is that GTX 1070 is more powerful than this guy, and it's also cheaper. But if you are going for Team Red, then the Vega 56 is kind of a no-brainer. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know which card you're rocking right now and potentially are thinking of upgrading. Are you looking forward to new NVIDIA cards if they come out? Or are you looking to buy something from existing AMD pool? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to check out this other relevant content. Check out our new boot sequence channel, and we'll see you